happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I also just want to take a quick moment and say bon voyage to Blaine Sutton Willis, our CLA, who's been staffing this meeting for a long time now. Thank you. But he's not going far. He's going into the planning department. But thank you, Mr. Sutton Willis, for your exceptional level of professionalism to this committee. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to serve all three of you and work with your staff. They have been great. They've overlooked all my fumbles, and we keep pushing. And I thank you for the opportunity.
Your fumbles haven't even been noticeable, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to hear comments on multiple items first, and we have one, and that is Wayne Spindler from Encino, who has filled out a card for general public comment and multiple items, and you have 2 minutes for your specific items and 1 minute for general public comment.
Good. So, number one, traffic exit points Griffith Park. Woo. Yeah, if David Rue wasn't fighting all that stuff about the rape, he would realize that Griffith Park is extremely dangerous for bikes. But he don't give a shit, so number one's a waste of time. Then we got the Kids Steering Committee. Stay away from kids. We don't need the city involved in children, especially with the cadet program. City rapes children. Stay away from them. Parents, keep your kids away from city facilities. Do not trust the city. Move away from the city. Go to good schools, like the unincorporated areas of the 5th District. Now you get number 3, Parks and Discovery Science Center. It's nothing but bullshit. Nothing's up there. In fact, in CD7 on that committee, Councilman Blumenfield's wife was on that commission, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. She got a nice little chunk of change on her way out, but that's a piece of shit, that Discovery Science Center. Don't go there. Number 4, it's in CD1, the Pico Housing Corporation. See, Cedillo, yes, he's doing a good job on number 1, actually, because Cedillo is not a rapist, and he's not a bigamist, and he's not queer. In other words, he's a regular guy.
I don't think that's anything to do with the item, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, of course it does. You can criticize your elected official. This jackass forgets it. Right rapist? Right bigamist? Right. So number 5, CD15. CD15, it shouldn't even be a council district. They should separate it and make it its own city. Wilmington and San Pedro should become their own city. This city has no business being an overlord in CD15.
You're on general public comment now.
Anyway, Mr. City Attorney, you need to stop your bullshit. What you're doing is that you're blocking my ability to exercise my First Amendment freedom of speech at these meetings. Now, the reason you're doing that is because you have all these criminals that you're representing. You got Curran Price, the bigamist. 12 years he's trying to get divorced and lies on all his Form 700s that he's married. Married to whom? He's married to Del Richardson. No, he's married to Lynn Price, who lives in New Jersey. Switched her voting registration fraudulently. And you got the judge in the payoff right over there. Judge Gross is going to give him a divorce under false pretense. Sure, you don't like it. But you know what? The DA don't give a shit because you're blackmailing her. 2002, the DA drops Rue's rape charges and becomes a Superior Court judge. That's what you do, Mr. City Attorney. You facilitate these stupid fucking assholes.
You're done.
Your clients are
douchebags. For anyone out there, is this the first meeting of anyone who is attending today? Is this the first council meeting? So everyone's seen the drill. They hear all the ugliness and ignorance and racist talk from these individuals who are exercising. And he's interrupting the meeting. He's interrupting a meeting. Okay, I've warned you once. You're interrupting a meeting. All right, so I think it's you've been warned. It's time for you to leave. Yeah. Just let the record reflect that he's disrupting the meeting, and we have warned him 3 times.
Disrupting the meeting, sir.
So he's leaving. You're leaving so we can have a meeting now. And let the record reflect that he continues to disrupt the meeting on his way out. Right. What a lovely dose of humanity that was. All right. So, colleagues, what I'd like to do is, if there are no additional comment cards, and there aren't on these following items, 3, 4, 5, and 6, let's see. I'd like to move those forward on consent and concur with Economic Development Committee recommendations on 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Without objection, that's what we'll do. And then, okay, so that was for item 2. Okay, so I misread that. So that's just, we'll move those on consent. Item 2 is what we'll concur with Economic Development Committee recommendations. And there are no cards on that either, which means we'll go to item 1, and I'm going to close the public comment phase now for those who come in. We'll take anyone who comes in and fills out a card, but we just won't hear them in committee now. So that moves us to item number 1. Mr. Sutton-Willis, will you please read item number 1?
Certainly. Item number 1, motion Rue Buscaino relative to a Council District 4 report regarding the feasibility of implementing proposed strategies from the 2018 Griffith Park Comprehensive Strategies Report, which is designed to study the traffic and congestion impacts at various entry and exit points around Griffith Park.
And today we have from Recreation and Parks, state for the record.
Joe Slices, Superintendent.
Good morning, or good afternoon, AP Diaz, Recreation and Parks.
Thank you, gentlemen. Before you start your presentation, I'd like to turn this over to Mr. Rue for opening comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I am very, very much excited about this report, or the analysis we will be getting from that report. And I really want to thank AP and Joe for you guys coming out here today, and also working with my office and also with Dixon to create this holistic approach to improve traffic, public safety, emergency services, and access in and around Griffith Park and the Hollywood sign. So the report had a lot of interesting ideas. And I am really looking forward to your department as well as all of the relevant departments working together to see the feasibilities of these ideas and seeing which recommendations by Dixon will best fit in our community and for our park. So this has been a very lengthy process, and I know it will be a lot more, but I believe that every detail and each impact needs to be carefully studied to create a very comprehensive solution. So I'm just looking forward to what will come before us later after you guys evaluate. But love to hear any new updates.
Well, good afternoon, council members. And Councilmember Rue, I just want to thank you and highlight, we really, at Rec and Parks, we really, of course, value all of our parkland and all of our assets, but certainly within the district of the 13th and the 4th, the challenges and responsibility that we have to be stewards and caretakers for Griffith Park and the Hollywood area is a huge responsibility. And we want to thank your office, Councilmember Rue, and your leadership and your team for really sort of working with us on a comprehensive strategy. Because it's not an easy task, as you know, to manage the traffic that comes in and out of the park, and particularly being a world-class tourist destination that the park serves. It's a challenging and daunting at times endeavor. And we want to serve residents. We want to serve people that want to come from out of town. So we have been fortunate and blessed to have really found a good partner in Dixon and in your office to really sort of bore in and kind of look at what have been some of the longstanding challenges in the neighborhood. And what are some areas that we can improve upon? And what are some sort of different and alternative ideas? Part of this study, which really is a comprehensive overview and report, and you have it in front of you, is looking at ways that not only challenge us to think outside the box, but maybe actually to step outside the box and start implementing some strategies. Now, I will reiterate what Councilmember Rue said for the public. This is all a very preliminary phase. The report has just been released, and these are strategies and ideas. So they still need to be evaluated as to their feasibility, as to their cost, as to the realities. And so one of the things we're going to be doing at Recreation and Parks is working with Council District 4 to really sort of study some of the individual recommendations and start prioritizing with the community. Okay, what are the ones that we can accomplish first? which are the sort of prioritized ones, which are the ones that make the most financial sense. And some of them are things that we can do in-house at Recreation and Parks, like better and enhanced signage, wayfinding procedures, improved traffic plans. Some of them will require us partnering with other city departments like DOT and traffic to figure out how can we get expanded dash systems or transit opportunities to improve congestion flow in and out. So we will also be looking at a variety of improved environmentally safe shuttles and looking at electric vehicles that we can bring in and out of the park that will have less noise and less pollution coming out. And some of them will be some really sort of unique and interesting ideas about what are the best points to view the Hollywood sign. What's the best way to get in and out of the park? Are there other alternatives to coming into the park, maybe from the valley side, and really sort of expanding those districts? So I don't want to, and I'll open it up for questions, but there are sort of just a few recommendations. They focus on, as we mentioned, really sort of safety, traffic congestion, and increased ability to access the park in a safe way. We're going to be doing a lot of exciting studies on pedestrian cars, access to the trailheads, which are mindful and respectful of legal obligations that we have to keep the park open and accessible, but also respecting current orders that we have and certain hours of the park that that our board has deemed appropriate for when the park should be open and closed. And then again, just working with the community in the months ahead to see what they think of the study and how they can best guide us, the city leaders, to do something for it.
Questions?
No. We've been talking at length for many months and years. So, no, just looking forward to the analysis. And again, just reiterating, these are all just strategies that has now been presented to the City of Los Angeles. And I look forward to Recreation and Parks, as well as all of the departments, CAO, CLA, DOT, Public Works getting involved and seeing the feasibility of all of these different, varied strategies. So, thank you.
Thank you for your leadership.
Yeah, good work. It'll be very interesting to see once these evaluations are done what we can do in-house with existing resources and with maybe a look to identifying other resources to make things happen once there's been a all community process, etc. So it'll be very interesting, and I hope people will welcome this because the goals of this are laudable and needed. So I commend you, Mr. Ru, as well for taking the leadership on this to see a way forward on the future of the park.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I just want to note that working with your office as well, because obviously some arbitrary line on a map doesn't mean that it doesn't affect other sides, and you pretty much straddle Griffith Park all the way through with all the things that we're doing at the LA River.
Yeah, we kind of wrap around it.
Right, and this is following on the comprehensive phase 1 part of the whole observatory circulation mitigation plan at Griffith Park, which we hope to expand. So it all ties in together. So this is going to be very exciting.
It is also exciting. Something that I always find tantalizing is establishing the connectivity across the LA River with a series of bridges that are slated, partially funded, some of them are all the way funded, to connect Griffith Park with the other side of the river, Atwater Village, and the whole Glendale River Walk. There's a connectivity there that are going to bring people to the river in other ways than a car, an automobile, horses, and on foot. So it'll be a very interesting and I think worthwhile endeavor. So I'm looking forward to it as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Price.
No, it sounds like it's going to be a great opportunity to serve the community.
All right. So without objection, we'll approve the motion and get this moving along.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, and that brings us. Oh, we have one speaker on item 8. Okay, thank you. And we have item 8 before. Well, we can read the item. We have one speaker, and we'll do that first. Item 8.
Item number 8, Board of Recreation and Parks Commissioners report relative to the use of submerged tide lands and a portion of a park property at Dockweiler State Beach for a proposed subsea fiber optic cable system connecting the United States and the Asia-Pacific region. This item is also referred to as the Los Angeles Trans-Pacific Telecommunications Cable Hub.
Terrific. And we have one speaker, Nick Girelli. Welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm representing TE Subcom, which is the counterparty to the easement that we're requesting in order to facilitate the construction of the Trans-Pacific Cable Hub. We're looking forward to working with the city, and I just wanted to express our support and make myself available if you had any questions.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Thank you.
One quick question.
Okay, we have one quick question. Sure.
So is this replacing an existing cable, or is this an entirely new?
This is an entirely new cable system, and the hub will accommodate up to 4 Trans-Pacific cable systems. And
So it's going to replace something, or it's just going to supplement with the existing?
supplement. There's an increasing demand for subsea telecommunication systems with the rise of Silicon Beach and Facebook and Google and Snapchat. And so with the increase in demand in Asia, there's, despite satellites, the fastest way to get data across the ocean is still with submarine cables, which have been in existence for 100 years.
And so where's it going to actually go from? Locations on the West
The
Coast?
first system is going to Hong Kong, and then
Where's it leave from?
Dockweiler Beach.
And in Hong Kong is the first.
And then Hong Kong is the landing site for the first cable, and we're building 3 additional conduits. They're lumped together terrestrially, but that'll allow us to install additional cables without having to do further street cuts or impact access at the beach.
How long will it take for you to run the first, to run the cable to Hong Kong?
The terrestrial portion at the beach is going to take about 4 to 6 months to build, and the cable, there's actually a boat that's going to run it across, and I don't know exactly how long that's going to take, but it will take several months.
How far down does the cable go, do you know?
It goes all the way to the
Bottom of-
hard bottom of the ocean.
What that is.
Yeah, it's laid at the bottom of the ocean where the depth is too hard to bury it, and then in areas that are more shallow, there's actually something that comes out of the back of the boat and digs a little trench, and so that the cable's buried and it avoids impacts with fishermen.
Thank you.
Fascinating. I never thought about how terrestrial cable was, the infrastructure was built. It's fascinating. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we have a presentation at Rec and Parks as well. Welcome again, Mr. Diaz.
Thank you.
And sir,
Sid Makarag, Rec and Parks Real Estate.
long time no see, Sid. Good to see you.
And Mr. Chair, I'll just start. I think if we can figure out ways to connect Venice Beach to Hong Kong, surely we can figure out how to connect Atwater to Griffith Park, right?
That's a great point.
So we will be hard at work on that, because if we can't figure that out for
Yes.
you.
I think you just gave me an aha moment that anything is possible.
Anyway, Sid.
So as already presented, we're asking your committee's approval for an easement agreement with TE Subcon, so that will allow the placement of the underwater cables on the submerged tidelands, which is under the jurisdiction of the city through Recreation and Parks, as well as a portion of the Dockweiler State Beach that is also owned by Recreation and Parks. It's our understanding on conversations with TE Subcon that there will be minimal impact to the public. Of course, the submerged sidelands, that will not have any effect on the general public. And the terrestrial portions, which is on the beach, is on a portion of the parking lot. And most of the work is going to be done underground. And there are several points along that route where the line is going that is basically out of the way of the general public. But most of the work is basically going to be done underground. So as far as we know, there will be minimal impact to the public.
Will you be tunneling under Vista Del Mar, or will there be any road closures associated with this infrastructure?
This portion that we're asking you to consider is only the park portion. So it's our understanding that there will be a portion that extends beyond the Dockweiler State Beach. And maybe Nick can answer that question for you.
Yeah, go ahead. This agreement doesn't actually get to the public right-of-way.
This
It
is-
stops
does
at the edge of the RAP parcel
So for
on
this-
Dockweiler Beach.
Thank you. So for this initial approval, it doesn't impact the flow of traffic at all on Vista Del Mar. Okay.
That's correct.
Just wanted, for the record, to clarify that. I know it's of great concern to our colleague Mike Bonin.
Yeah, and there actually won't even be impact, well, there'll be a minimal impact on the parking lot that is where the occupies RAP parcel, but the construction is set out where it'll be avoiding most of the infrastructure that the public uses when they are at Dockweiler.
Okay.
And our goal is to complete all the work at the beach before Memorial Day, because we understand that's when peak season for beachgoers starts.
Sure. Those parking spaces are at a premium
Yes,
on Memorial Weekend.
we understand.
And how many jurisdictions will this entail to go through? Just
Well,
Yeah.
it's been a complicated permitting process because Dockweiler Beach is actually owned by the state of California and operated by the county of Los Angeles. It traverses the city of Los Angeles, and then the terminus of the cable is in the city of El Segundo.
okay, multi-jurisdictional. And what's the Rec and Parks monitoring plan for the duration of the project? Or like, what's your role in terms of monitoring the project?
Well, our role is basically just to give them permission to be able to use the park property. Any concerns as far as the actual operational impacts to the beach itself will have to be worked through TE Subcon with the county beaches and harbor, because they're the ones that has operational control.
Got it. So they're the lead agency, essentially, on
For CEQA
management.
purposes, the city of LA was the lead agency, but there are numerous reporting programs that the Coastal Commission has imposed and the County Department of Beaches and Harbors have imposed to make sure we don't impact vegetation or other biological issues in the area.
But we'll ensure from our staff's point of view that we have specific points of contact in place so that should there be any disruptions for some of these concerns or for CD11 and Mr. Bonin's office, that we can have staff directly in contact with the people so that won't be too much delay, hopefully, should problems arise.
If there are any interruptions to park patron access or any of that, will there be postings?
I think so, yes. If there are going to be, and we figure out as the project develops that something is unforeseen as it's foreseen now, which shouldn't be disruptions, we will definitely work, particularly with CD11, but make sure that people are aware of what's going on so that there's not confusion at the site.
Got it.
Yeah, and just to be clear for the record, Mr. Chair, so the city has already approved the EIR or in the CEQA process for this project, which has been, what BOE was the lead agency. But separately, the entirety of the actual cable construction itself will take place underground under, as Nick was saying, the submerged lands, submerged highlands it'll be short trench underground, but then also the entirety of Dockweiler Beach, the cable will be underground, and there will actually be no physical structures or manholes or any kind of junction boxes on park property. It'll all be underground. So once the construction is done, hopefully by Memorial Day, people won't even know that the project is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so there won't be another coming back to this committee or to the city. This is it. We approve it, and we approve it in council, and there won't be a different phase that will come back for.
Not for the submerged highlands and the RAP parcel. There will be a separate approval, most likely at the time when the project moves into the right-of-way to get to El Segundo. But depending on how the final sort of right-of-way access is determined, it may not come back. But there could be a franchise agreement that comes back for the right-of-way access.
Great. Colleagues, any questions?
Yeah, just one. The $500,000, I think it's 564. That's the total for the 21 years.
That's the total for the 21 years for the portion of the project that's under the jurisdiction of Recreation and Parks.
Right. And I'm just curious, is that a monthly payout or lump sum, or
It's a lump sum payment.
Thank you. So, without objection, we'll approve the recommendations in the Recreation and Parks Board report, and that'll.
Just be, there was a revised report, so
Oh,
just
was
make
there?
sure that the committee approves if it so
Okay.
chooses the revised report.
Yes, we'll approve the revised report. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I believe that completes the agenda.
That is it, sir.
That is it. Thank you so much. This meeting is adjourned.